Right, so hello, welcome back to the channel. Are Chelsea good again? I mean, honestly, are they actually back? Because they looked really impressive against Man City, which is quite difficult to do. I know, obviously, Wolves beat them and so forth, but it's still an impressive performance, and they're looking better every single game. But very quickly, before we get into that, if you could share the video around and subscribe, it helps the channel out immensely. We're trying to hit 300 subs as soon as possible, so if you could help with that, that would be great. But let's get back into it. Now, imagine you said to someone about 2 weeks ago that Chelsea are going to score 8 goals in the next 2 games, and that's going to be away at Tottenham and at home to Man City. I don't think a single person would have taken you up on that. But that's what they've done in their past 2 games. I mean, look, the win against Tottenham, I went about it in my last video, and it wasn't impressive from a Chelsea standpoint. I mean, yes, they got Reece James back on the pitch, gave him 70 minutes, subbed him off when the game looked pretty much won before it didn't. And, you know, they missed a bundle of chances, and the chances that they were creating weren't brilliant, but they still won 4-1, which it's got to be an impressive win. And then 4 goals against Man City. I know they conceded 4, but that's not what it's about at the minute. And again, very quickly on that last game, if it was 11v11, I don't think Chelsea come out and get a win. Tottenham looked completely in control. And then Romero and the doggy. I mean, I went over it in the last video, go watch that. But they showed determination, perseverance, and yeah, it worked out for them. Now, the thing is, Chelsea played really well against Man City. Man City are always going to have a lot of the ball, but because they have the ball so high up, there's always going to be space in behind the defence. And look, Chelsea played well, Man City didn't, which is maybe worrying because Man City still got a draw there after not playing as well as they could do, despite the fact that they scored 4. But Chelsea did what they had to do, and, you know, former boys Sterling and Cole Palmer, they were really good against Man City. When you come back to play against your old team, no matter where you are, who you're playing against, you either go one of 2 ways. You are either absolutely awful, or you played really well. There's not a, oh, he played fine. You know, it's not an average performance. You're either awful or amazing, and Cole Palmer, he's a real superstar. Because Chelsea, they've gotten a lot of penalties recently, and Cole Palmer's taken the responsibility of, what is he, about 20 years old? He's taken the responsibility, said, I want this, taking all these penalties, and look, in the 94th minute against your former club, when you're 4-3 down, he steps up and he slots in a brilliant penalty, and, you know, 40 million, everyone's laughing, but he looks a great player, and he looks to fit in what Chelsea are trying to build. And I mean, Chelsea are getting back all their injuries. I mean, maybe not all of them. There's still 1 or 2. The likes of Fofana's going to be out for the season. Chalobah's probably going to be out for the season. But they're slowly and surely getting everyone back fit. And they've not had that. Their squad has been stretched so thin. And I know people are going to say, well, they spent over $1 billion. And yes, they have. But they've also had numerous amount of injuries, and it's just not helped having to chop and change the team so often. Lavia and Nkunku, 2 guys who are yet to make their debut, they could be back after the international break. Chilwell could be back about a week or 2 after that in early December, and then, as I said, that's a full squad that they have other than Chalobah and Fofana, and that's when we can really start to judge this Chelsea team, when they've got their players, because it's like anyone, a lot of injuries, yes, it doesn't help, and it doesn't matter in a way because you've got to go out and perform, but injuries, they just hamper things. You obviously look at Newcastle at the minute, they've got more than half their squad out injured, it seems. And look, they've got their captain back, Reece James, I mean, they've got Amanda Broja back, they've got Caicedo, who was injured a bit. I mean, he's looking a great player. Obviously, they spent over 100 mil on him, but it takes time to adapt to a new system and sort of get a partnership going. But him, Fernandes, Gallagher, they look to be a good trio together. And the fact that they're not in Europe, which, yes, some Chelsea fans might be quite upset with, it's going to benefit them because they're currently 10th in the table. And they're a wee bit away. I'm pretty sure they're like 5-6 points off 4th place. And that takes a lot of work to get up to recover these 5-6 points. But the fact of the matter is that because they've got no European football, the majority of teams above them do have that European football, and they could slowly start to climb the table. Playing teams when they've just had a game in Europe, the likes of Villa playing on Sunday and so forth, that's when you can expect to get a result against them, when they're not as focused and maybe they've just come back from a long trip. And then that's when you can slowly and surely overtake them. That's why I think Tottenham are going to also have quite a good season, despite the injuries that they're now starting to get. The form that they've been in as well, it's been great. I mean, they've only lost one game in their last 8 in all competitions, and that was at home to Brentford, 2-0, and the second goal, just Sanchez is up the pitch, it's just a 2-1-0 breakaway. So, you know, it is what it is. You're going to lose the odd game here or there, and they're in the quarterfinal of the League Cup. It's at home to Newcastle. That's a tough game a week or so before Christmas, but they are doing really well. And other than the injuries, which are going to happen, and they're going to happen to every team, so everyone's got to deal with it in their own way. My only worry for Chelsea is the fact that they've not got a lot of experience. I mean, they've got Thiago Silva, but other than that, you're looking at the squad. I know, obviously, Reece James and Chilwell, they've won the Champions League with Chelsea, but they're still relatively young players. There's not any sort of older players to guide and help develop these younger players who are looking great. Mudrik's finally getting into a bit of form, but he can't get in the team because Palmer's playing well and so forth. That's my main concern for this Chelsea team. They've not got the experience factor. The only reason it's not a massive worry is because they've got maybe the best development coach in the world. It's between him and Jurgen Klopp for developing young talents. It's Pochettino, who I believe is the second best manager in the league, maybe third behind Klopp, but I think he's a bit better, but obviously behind Pep as well. And this guy, he knows how to get the best out of his players. You look at the team that he built at Southampton, you look at what he did at Tottenham. Okay, PSG didn't go amazingly, but name me one manager who's done very well at PSG anyway, because I can't think of a single one. Now, what makes Pochettino so great as a manager is the fact that he is so good at developing players. I mean, it's brilliant the way that he brings through young talent. He doesn't usually spend as much. I say usually because Chelsea, I mean, it's mainly their mad owner, Todd Bowley, who's been doing all the spending, and Poch has just sort of been there and thrown everything. It's not really been ideal for him. He'd rather have a group of players where he has them, works with them, develops them, and I think we're going to slowly see that now. I don't think we're going to see the outrageous amount of spending that Chelsea have currently been doing. I think they're going to buy some experienced players, sort of the 29-year-olds and upwards, but they've now kind of got their squad. They've got the foundation of what they want to build, and they just need to add to it with some experienced players. I know that I'm saying that a lot, but that's genuinely all that they're missing. Now, are Chelsea fully back? No, not yet. I mean, they're heading in the right direction. They've had great results recently. I mean, they've not lost to Liverpool so far this season. Arsenal, they beat Tottenham, drawn to Man City. That's great, because that's probably going to be the top 4 anyway. And they've looked good in those games. I mean, they have, haven't they? But there's going to be a lot of road bumps still. I mean, their road back to the top, it's not going to be smooth sailing. They're going to lose the odd game here or there. They're not going to win every single week, and they're not going to dominate every single week. But that's okay, as long as they can still be in the games and fighting for the games and nick the odd win here or there. They're in a good position, and you've got to give time to Pochettino and the players to develop. So they're nearly there, but not quite. So that was the video on Chelsea. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, like, subscribe, share the video around. As I said, it does help the channel out immensely. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, cheers.